Have you ever felt that, no matter how much effort you put in, you always seem to be chasing instead of being the center of the game? That feeling of being chased, of trying to prove yourself all the time, consumes your energy and undermines your confidence. What's worse, the harder you try, the less valuable you seem. But what if I told you there was a way to turn this game around? It's not about cheap manipulation, but emotional intelligence and strategy. Mastering these 10 ways will not only show you how to lead her heart skillfully, but also how to do it elegantly, using your inner strength as a foundation. You'll learn not to chase, but to attract. The key? A balance between detachment, clarity, and the power of stoicism to remain unshaken. No more feeling vulnerable in a field you can lead. It's time to position yourself as someone who understands the rules and uses them to your advantage. These 10 tactics will transform the way you see relationships, putting you in control without having to lose respect or your essence. After all, power doesn't lie with those who chase, but with those who know exactly how to act. Let's find out how to transform social dynamics with 10 irresistible strategies. But first, make sure you're already subscribed to this channel, because the next videos will be a series to help you become irresistible. The art of emotional control. Overcoming psychological games. Imagine a common scenario. You're engaged in an interesting conversation with someone special, and suddenly the dynamic changes. The enthusiasm that seemed mutual cools down, or the messages that used to flow easily now pop up sporadically, for no apparent reason. These situations, known as emotional games, are more common than many people realize. But what is behind this apparently confusing behavior? Have you ever wondered why certain interactions feel like an emotional minefield? Or how to deal with situations in which interest seems to become an unknown? The answer lies in mastering self-control and practicing principles that strengthen the spirit. Mastering these aspects not only uncomplicates these dynamics, but also transforms you into someone who is resilient and firm, qualities that naturally inspire respect. So-called emotional games are often reflections of insecurities, emotional tests, or even unconscious tactics to measure a person's level of involvement. Terms like breadcrumbing, giving minimal clues of interest to keep someone involved, or hot and cold behavior exemplify this dynamic. These strategies can confuse and destabilize those who are not prepared to deal with them. This is where Stoicism comes in. Philosophers such as Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus teach us that it is possible to remain calm in the midst of provocation and external manipulation. Marcus Aurelius, for example, in his Meditations argued that you have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this and you will find strength. By applying this idea to personal interactions, you become less vulnerable to changes in the other person's behavior. Practicing Stoicism doesn't mean ignoring emotions, but rather preventing them from dominating your actions. For example, when you notice ghosting behavior, when someone disappears without explanation, your first impulse may be to look for explanations or answers. But a Stoic man keeps his focus on what he can control, his reactions. He doesn't waste time trying to decipher confusing signals, but redirects his attention to his own well-being and goals. In addition, self-mastery sends out the message of self-sufficiency. A centered person, who is not easily shaken, stands out in a world where many are driven by impulses and reactions. This not only diffuses manipulative behavior, but also establishes a position of emotional leadership. Dealing with emotional games is not about winning or manipulating back, but about establishing firm ground where you are unshakable. Emotional control and a focus on Stoic principles are powerful tools for getting through challenging situations with poise and confidence. In the next installment, we'll explore how emotional detachment, not to be confused with indifference, can transform your attitude and further strengthen your presence in relationships. Stay tuned and keep building your resilience. Emotional detachment, the art of responding with serenity. Have you ever wondered what your life would be like if other people's actions didn't have the power to determine your emotional state? Emotional detachment is not about coldness or indifference, but rather a state of inner balance. It allows you to remain calm and make clear decisions without being carried away by instincts or impulsive reactions. This concept, inspired by Stoic philosophy, restores control over your narrative and strengthens your emotional independence. Stoic wisdom, exemplified by thinkers such as Epictetus and Seneca, teaches us that suffering often arises from how we interpret events, and not from the events themselves. Epictetus said, "It is not events that disturb us, but what we think about them. This perspective encourages a calm approach to other people's behavior. Imagine someone acting distant or inconsistent. Instead of reacting with anxiety, you accept what is out of your control and focus on what can be adjusted. Your response. Practicing detachment involves reformulating thoughts of emotional dependence, replacing them with beliefs of self-sufficiency. Strategies such as mindfulness help you stay focused on the present, while setting assertive boundaries strengthens your position in any relationship. These practices don't weaken bonds, but make them healthier, as they create interactions based on respect and understanding. By incorporating emotional detachment, you not only protect your peace, but also discover a transformative force. This skill strengthens your confidence and improves the quality of your connections, allowing you to deal with challenges in a mature and balanced way. Recognizing behavior patterns. The power of close observation. Have you ever noticed how certain behaviors tend to repeat themselves in your relationships? The ability to identify patterns, especially those involving dynamics of manipulation or inconsistency, is essential for anyone who wants to strengthen their emotional stance and cope better with adversity. Careful observation and a stoic attitude allow you to understand the actions of others without being influenced by them. From Stoic philosophy, we learn that the predictability of human behavior can be a powerful tool. Seneca advised, "The prepared man faces fewer surprises." This principle applies directly to recognizing patterns in relationships. For example, the push-pull dynamic, where a person alternates between closeness and distance, is a common scenario. Instead of reacting with frustration or doubt, Stoicism suggests that you adopt a posture of calm and discernment, analyzing underlying intentions and motivations. Developing this skill requires mindfulness and a detached mentality. By observing repeated actions, you can predict reactions and adjust your choices, avoiding emotional pitfalls. This practice not only protects you from unnecessary wear and tear, but also gives you a strategic advantage in relationships, allowing you to conduct interactions more assertively. Recognizing patterns doesn't mean closing yourself off to people, but rather understanding their dynamics in order to build more authentic bonds. This approach strengthens your ability to make decisions in line with your values and reduces the influence of external behaviors on your internal balance. By mastering this skill, you can turn emotional challenges into opportunities for growth and learning. Did you know about these points? Did you know they existed? Let me know in the comments if you've experienced this, or if you know the story of someone you know who has. I'll help you in the comments. Recognizing behavior patterns. The power of close observation. Have you ever noticed how certain behaviors tend to repeat themselves in your relationships? The ability to identify patterns, especially those involving manipulative or inconsistent dynamics, is essential for anyone who wants to strengthen their emotional stance and cope better with adversity. Careful observation and a stoic attitude allow you to understand the actions of others without being influenced by them. From Stoic philosophy, we learn that the predictability of human behavior can be a powerful tool. Seneca advised, "The prepared man faces fewer surprises." This principle applies directly to recognizing patterns in relationships. For example, the push-pull dynamic, where a person alternates between closeness and distance, is a common scenario. Instead of reacting with frustration or doubt, Stoicism suggests that you adopt a posture of calm and discernment, analyzing underlying intentions and motivations. Developing this skill requires mindfulness and a detached mentality. By observing repeated actions, you can predict reactions and adjust your choices, avoiding emotional pitfalls. This practice not only protects you from unnecessary wear and tear, but also gives you a strategic advantage in relationships, allowing you to conduct interactions more assertively. Recognizing patterns doesn't mean closing yourself off to people, but rather understanding their dynamics in order to build more authentic bonds. This approach strengthens your ability to make decisions in line with your values and reduces the influence of external behaviors on your internal balance. By mastering this skill, you can turn emotional challenges into opportunities for growth and learning. Setting boundaries with respect. The basis for healthy relationships. Have you ever thought about how clear boundaries can change the dynamics of a relationship? Setting boundaries isn't just an act of self-defense. It's also a demonstration of respect for yourself and the other person. When you communicate your needs assertively and calmly, you create an environment conducive to connections based on transparency and reciprocity. Stoic philosophy teaches us that it is fundamental to distinguish between what is under our control and what is not. In this context, setting limits means taking charge of what you can control, your reaction and the conditions for interacting with others. Marcus Aurelius stressed the importance of acting in line with your principles, and that's exactly what you do when you set your limits. When setting limits, it is essential to communicate them calmly and firmly. For example, if you value honesty in a relationship, you should express this expectation directly and respectfully. This avoids future conflicts and demonstrates that you are committed to your values. When boundaries are set at the beginning of a relationship, they help prevent misunderstandings and establish a foundation of trust. Practicing setting boundaries doesn't mean erecting insurmountable barriers. It's about creating safe spaces where respect and empathy can flourish. In doing so, you not only protect your inner peace, but also inspire the other person to reflect on their own actions. This approach strengthens relationships and promotes a balance that benefits everyone involved. Finally, remember, setting limits is an act of courage and self-knowledge. It is through this practice that you affirm who you are and what you value, transforming your relationships into more meaningful and harmonious experiences. Keeping calm under pressure. Mastering emotional resilience. Can you keep your composure even in the face of challenging situations? The ability to remain calm when under pressure is one of the greatest indicators of emotional strength, especially in contexts of provocation, conflict, or manipulation. Adopting a stoic posture is essential to maintaining control of the situation and preserving your integrity. The Stoics, such as Seneca and Epictetus, emphasized that tranquility is achieved when we focus on what is within our reach, our reactions. Imagine a scenario in which you face direct provocation, such as an intentional mention of ex-partners or flirting with a third party in your presence. The natural reaction of many would be to confront the situation impulsively, but Stoicism teaches us to observe the situation from a distance and act rationally. Staying calm doesn't mean ignoring the problem, but responding in a measured way. By demonstrating that you are not easily shaken by external situations, you communicate an inner confidence that is admirable and respectable. What's more, this approach disarms manipulative tactics and shifts the power dynamic in your favor. The practice of remaining calm requires training, deep breathing exercises, reflection on Stoic principles, and the ability to momentarily remove yourself from the situation help to develop this skill. For example, Epictetus suggested that you always ask yourself, is this under my control? If the answer is no, it's best not to let the situation consume you. Adopting this mindset also strengthens your ability to deal with future challenges. With each situation you face calmly, you become more resilient, better prepared to deal with pressure, and more in line with the Stoic principles that value inner peace above all else. Cultivating this skill turns your life into an example of self-control and wisdom for those around you. Focus on long-term goals. Building a solid purpose. Have you ever reflected on how your daily choices shape the future? Focusing on the long term is a strategy that separates those who merely survive from those who thrive. While dramas and distractions may seem urgent, focusing on bigger goals ensures that you build something truly meaningful. This is the essence of living intentionally. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius always stressed the importance of channeling energy into what really matters. Marcus wrote in his meditations about the need to avoid getting lost in trivialities and to keep focused on duty. This can be applied directly to your daily life. When you prioritize goals such as personal development, career, and physical health, you naturally become more resilient, less susceptible to distractions, and more attractive to those around you. Practicing this mindset doesn't mean neglecting relationships or moments of relaxation, but rather ensuring that these interactions don't distract you from your main mission. For example, when planning your days, make sure you dedicate time to activities that nurture your growth and bring you closer to your bigger goals. This approach is an investment in yourself and your future. Pursuing long-term goals also redefines your priorities and behavior. By pursuing a lifestyle in line with your values, you show the world that you have clarity of purpose and are not carried away by emotions or passing impulses. This self-discipline and focus makes you more confident and prepared to face challenges, standing firm even in the midst of adversity. Remember, living with a focus on the future is not just about the destination, but also about the journey. Every step you take towards your goals builds a life that reflects who you really are, creating a legacy that inspires both you and others. Avoiding overreactions. The art of maintaining control when something unexpected happens. Do you react or respond? This difference is crucial to maintaining emotional harmony and control over situations. Reacting is impulsive and often causes us to lose our balance. Responding is a considered choice, based on clarity and rationality. Stoicism invites us to embrace the second approach to avoid unnecessary wear and tear. Imagine that someone decides to distance themselves from you without warning. The common reaction would be to immediately seek answers, entering a cycle of anxiety and self-questioning. But Stoic principles, such as those taught by Epictetus, guide us to accept what is out of our control. He said, "It is not events that disturb us, but the opinions we have about them." So, by choosing not to overreact, you protect your serenity. Avoiding disproportionate reactions also strengthens your position in interpersonal relationships. When you choose to remain calm and focused on your goals, you demonstrate that your emotional stability does not depend on external circumstances. This behavior inspires respect and admiration, making you more confident and less vulnerable to manipulation. An effective way to cultivate this skill is through constant reflection. Before acting, ask yourself, how does this situation impact my greater purpose? This simple question helps you redirect your energy to what really matters, avoiding unnecessary emotional strain. Practicing control over your reactions is a journey that transforms challenges into opportunities for growth. With each choice to respond rather than react, you move closer to a state of self-control and wisdom that is at the heart of Stoicism. Well, we're halfway through the content, and I've noticed that you haven't liked this video yet. This is very important so that YouTube continues to share our content with you, and so we can continue to help you. So please like this video for free, okay? Moving on. Communicating self-worth. The essence of mutual respect. How do you communicate what you deserve in a relationship? Knowing how to express your value is fundamental to establishing respect and ensuring a healthy balance in interactions. In Stoicism, self-worth is rooted in an understanding of your intrinsic dignity and the ability to act accordingly. Epictetus teaches that we shouldn't worry about pleasing others, but rather about remaining faithful to what we believe is right. When a disagreement arises or a perceived lack of reciprocity, the way you position yourself can transform the dynamics of the relationship. Communicating your value doesn't mean aggressively demanding attention or recognition, but rather expressing your standards and expectations clearly and calmly. For example, you could say, "I value relationships based on respect and genuine effort. That's the kind of connection I'm looking to build." In doing so, you demonstrate that your identity is not subordinate to the actions of others, but is anchored in strong principles. This attitude reflects confidence and stability, which are highly attractive and respectable qualities. It also sets healthy boundaries, preventing behavior that could undermine your self-esteem. Communicating your value also requires congruence between words and actions. Saying that you value respect, but accepting disrespectful attitudes sends a confusing message. So align your choices with what you say, showing consistency and authenticity. In the end, communicating self-worth is a practice that transcends romantic relationships. It's a reflection of how you see yourself and position yourself in all areas of life. By doing this with confidence and clarity, you build connections based on reciprocity and respect, which strengthen both you and those around you. Mastering emotional control, a path to resilience in a world full of challenges and unexpected situations. The ability to manage one's emotions is an essential skill. Stoicism, with its timeless lessons, offers a clear guide to achieving this goal. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest exponents of this philosophy, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this and you will find strength." This idea invites us to take an active role in regulating our emotional reactions. Mastering emotional control doesn't mean repressing feelings, but turning them into tools for growth. When confronted with situations that provoke anger, fear, or sadness, ask yourself, is this under my control? This simple question, based on Stoicism, allows you to redirect your energy towards productive solutions. For example, instead of reacting impulsively to criticism, use it as an opportunity for self-evaluation and improvement. Another crucial aspect is the practice of gratitude and negative visualization, techniques widely used by Stoics. By reflecting on what you have already achieved and imagining unfavorable scenarios, you develop a more balanced perspective on adversity. This mindset reduces the emotional impact of unpleasant situations and increases your resilience. Self-control also strengthens your interpersonal relationships. A calm response to provocations or disagreements demonstrates maturity and wisdom, qualities that inspire respect and admiration. Remember that every interaction is an opportunity to practice patience and self-control. By cultivating emotional control, you not only transform your relationship with yourself, but also positively impact those around you. This is the true essence of Stoicism, living with serenity and purpose, regardless of external circumstances. True strength in relationships lies not in seeking control over the other, but in mastering yourself. Each strategy we explore here is not just about improving your interactions, but about strengthening your essence. By applying Stoicism, cultivating emotional detachment, recognizing patterns and setting limits with respect, you not only transform your posture, but also attract more authentic and enriching connections. Remember, you don't have to chase, you just have to be the kind of person worth pursuing. The choice is yours, and so is the power to shape your relationships. Now it's time to put these ideas into practice and take control of your emotional narrative. Be the protagonist of your story. Thanks for watching so far. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving the next content. Until the next video.